Well, welcome back to Rick Scale Model Fix and another brand new video. It's been a little bit of a strange 2023 for me, and the year ends as a lot of other modelers' years end with Scale Model World. So this year was a little bit different for me in attending Telford, as right up until probably 10 days before I didn't really intend fully on going, and this is due to my ongoing knee problems. And it just makes such a lot of pain walking around for a full weekend, viewing the models and talking to people, that it just becomes unrealistic. And also another knock-on effect of that is, for those that know, my man cave workspace bench is in a loft conversion at home, and this has to be accessed via a ladder. And again, due to the ongoing knee trouble, climbing that ladder can be fraught with danger, with the ever-present risk of taking a tumble. So the hope of this video is to have a brief look at what my Scale Model World was like, and it was a little bit different, as we'll find out in the video, but also a bit of a channel catch-up and where we're going, because I'm all too painfully aware that there's not been a great deal of content from me over the past year and 2023 in general. So before we get onto the Scale Model World segment and the information, we'll have a look at what I managed to purchase and what I brought home and what I did. It's just been a nice point at this juncture just to catch up with what I've been doing in 2023. So for those that watch the channel, there's not been a great deal of activity on there, for which I apologise. And whilst the content is always free, and hopefully I intend to leave it as free for as long as possible, I feel a little bit less obligated to provide content as well. Now obviously I work full time, and also I've been really busy with some magazine projects, because as like I say, keep referring to in a lot of my video content, I do actually contribute to Scale Aircraft Modelling magazine, for which I'm always eternally grateful from them publishing the articles. So we started the year off after Telford 2022, and we dived into a build there after a couple of reviews of the Italeri F35B. So I'll put some photos up of that now. So that was quite an in-depth build and was featured in the magazine. Straight onto the back of that, and we can see that I've got a Spitfire there on my desk, which has just been plonked there just because it was in the way. So we dived into another quite large project for the magazine again, with the Qatari 1/32 scale Spitfire, and that was another prolonged build, and that wasn't really helped along the way by the incredibly warm weather that we had here in the UK at the beginning of sort of spring summer section, where it just became so unbearable up here that I think one day it was just edging nearly 45 degrees in temperature, and it just made it painting practically impossible. Once that was done, it's on with another big project, and in this instance I'm currently working on Takom's 1/35 scale AH-64 Apache, and that's coming on really well. So whilst there's no video content, I try and post up on my Facebook page my daily shenanigans at the bench, and it's usually just a snapshot of what I've achieved if I can get up here, and what I've done and what's been productive in the couple of hours at the bench. So if you're on Facebook, search my name, Rick Greenwood. Hopefully you'll come up and recognise the familiar Rick Scale Model Fix logo and content, and you can keep in touch with what's going on there. Looking ahead to 2024, I can't really see much changing in terms of the channel. In fact, I'm just sat here now deliberating whether to pay the subscriptions for next year, as they are quite expensive. Probably will do, because I like delivering that content, and it just gives me the option to carry on if I should choose to do so. So that's really all that I've managed to build for this year. I have got a little side project going on, which is the ammo of MiG-17, and I've managed to get first part and second part of that edited and ready for publication. So there will be at least that one, hopefully, video build next year. But I'm also planning on bringing a few other bits and pieces if I can fit them in. So that's it with the channel. So obviously there's my website as well, so take a look on there. I've updated that throughout the year, and there's some really good reference photos to accompany some of the builds that I've done there. It's actually the reference material that I've used and taken the photographs personally at air shows and things, museums and trips like that I've gone out to conduct field research as such. So turning our attention to Scale Model World. So turning our attentions to Scale Model World, and the talk of the show has to be the workbench email from Airfix on the Friday, surprising us all again, similar to the Sea King, with the announcement of a brand new tool, Messerschmitt ME410A1, U2 and U4 in 70-second scale. And Airfix again have surprised us all with this, and this was actually on sale at the event, and there was some lovely made up models on the Airfix trade stand as well. Now I was lucky enough to talk with the designer briefly about this kit, and I have another box in that he's signed and autographed for me that will be kept in the stash. But this one I'm hopefully find some time over the next few days to do a review. I'm sure the internet and YouTube's going to be awash with reviews and builds of this, so I'm not really going to be rushed into doing anything with it. It's not really my genre, but nonetheless an interesting release from Airfix. However, the Sea King, which they dropped on us in the latter part of the year, is, and I've got a build of those planned again for the magazine, so that's going to keep me quite busy. So those that sort of sitting on the fence with regards to Scale Model World, for me this year I went and I sat on the Guideline Publications trade stand. Scale Aircraft magazine is published by those. So at this point I just want to say a massive thank you to Gary Hatcher and Tom Foxton for their hospitality over the weekend and allowing me the space. And unusually, and for the first time ever, I sat on that trade stand with a kit on the Saturday and I started to build. So again, at this point, a massive thanks to Sylvia Lowe and Raymond Chung from Kinetic Model Kits for supplying me with their Telford release, which is the IA-58 Pucara Royal Air Force boxing. And I sat there on the end of the stand and I started just to build it through, no painting, just in the naked plastic, so to speak. So this kit was generously donated, like I said, by Kinetic Models. Now there is a full build of this kit up on the channel, and I believe this one was a special Telford release, and it was going on sale from the Kinetic stand at a very reasonable £30 worth. It's a lovely kit, and I think it's really underestimated and overlooked by a lot of modelers. And as we know from some of the internet warriors, Kinetic seem to get a bit of a bashing at times. So this was my kit of choice to just try and show that the new generation of the Kinetic kits, the gold ones, are actually not too bad. And within a short period of time on the Saturday, I'd managed to get the cockpit assembled and cemented into the fuselage. And then drawing to the end of the show on the Saturday, I managed to attach the wings to the fuselage and the engine nacelles and build all that up and left it to dry. Now, one of the problems of being at that event where we were located in the Hall 2, I think it was, at the back along the rear wall next to Wonderland Models, was it was unsurprisingly freezing cold, and on the Sunday I just couldn't sit and build. It was that cold. I found myself in a rather strange position of having to walk round and buy some kits just to keep warm. So read into that what you will. This was the fruits of my labours. So we've got it assembled. Not too sure what direction I'm going to go with the remainder of the plastic, if anywhere at all with it, which is a shame. But at least I've got the decal sheet and the instructions from this boxing, and I do intend to build that. So whether I can sort of retro paint the cockpit and interior on this one and pick up with this build, or whether I start another kit, remains to be seen. So a massive thank you to everybody who stopped by and broke the boredom up for me, if you like, and had a chat. It was a unique experience for all those people that I would normally wander around and see, for them to come to me. You really don't realise how much and how grateful I am for that. And some of the feedback I've received about the channel just gives me that little bit more inspiration to carry on. and also you've saved me a great deal of pain in walking the miles and miles around the hall. So this year the wallet stayed relatively tightly closed. I didn't really purchase anything other than a couple of books and the Mini Art P47. One thing I was keen to pick up, at some point I do want to try and build the old Eschi Airfix reboxing of the Saab Viggen, and that's going to be quite a detailed project, needing rescribed and detail adding, etc, etc. We're always in the vain hope that there's going to be a fairly decent injection moulded one just round the corner. But nonetheless, picked up the Saab Viggen walk around from Glen Ashley, Blackbird models, and for 12 UK pounds this has turned out to be quite a nice purchase, and will give me a lot of detail and reference photos for my project once I start that. Who knows when that'll be, but at least we have the reference for it. On the theme of books, we picked up the Duke Hawkins A10 AC Thunderbolt 2 walk round aircraft in detail number 30. Now, as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen this in the UK, and I did have it on order at back order at Hannants. I think it's about 30 quid. It's just short of 180 pages, and it is full of A10 porn. There is everything in there that you need, and probably more, to fully understand the airframe, and that'll guide me through my build of the Academy A10C, which is slated for the bench straight after the Tacom Apache, again unfortunately for Scale Aircraft Modelling magazine, but hopefully may be able to squeeze some video content into that as well. It's always nice to be offered review samples, and again thanks to Gary Hatcher and Scale Aircraft Modelling magazine, and to Peter Ask Scale Masks, Ask Distribution, we picked up some double-sided canopy masks for the A10C for Airfix's Sea King, and these are both double-sided and one-sided, a bit like Edard's T-Face, do the inner and outer framework, and for the Minicraft P47 Thunderbolt. I like these more than the Edard ones. I know you've probably seen me use a lot of those in the channel at some point on the builds, but these are actually numbered, and it just makes their use just a little bit more user friendly. Some more samples, again many thanks as previously mentioned. So we've got some 3D printed seats with white fabric textile and fabric textile seat belts by HGW, again for the Minicraft P47, and a couple of wheels sets, 6-spoke ones with the block tread. And I've opened some of these just out of curiosity when I was doing the write-up reviews for the magazine, and these wheels I am really impressed with. The scaffold for the 3D printing just broke away with no cleanup required, and the detail on those wheel hubs is really, really good. So they'll be put to good use with an upcoming build of that kit. And whilst we're on the subject of warbirds, I also managed to acquire a set of cannon barrels for the poorly depicted ones in the Armour Hobby Hurricane, and some exhausts as well. So again, massive thanks to Peter at Ask or Artscale, and they can all be purchased along with that Duke Hawkins book at www.artscale.eu, and I'll put a link in the description below. Another kit that was very, very graciously received and given to us by Kinetic Model Kits was their relatively new F-16D. Yes, the one Tamiya never did. Strange omission, but Kinetics gain a lot from that, as there is very little competition in the two-seat F-16 market in 48 scale, with really the only ones that are available being the old Hasegawa kit, and that is quite long in the tooth now. Still builds up reasonably well, but as you've seen from the build that I did in the magazine of the C, and also the review of both the C and the D kits up on the channel this one is up there and certainly claims the best in scale for the F16 family of any sort at the moment. So I'm looking forward to getting that one on the bench, and I do intend on doing this as a full-blown video build, so watch out for that one at some point 2024. But on the subject of the F16, I managed to pick up the Caracal Models F16D from Hannants decal sheet, and that's got some two-seaters on in the later half glass scheme, and we'll be investigating what options we can use with that, and perhaps do either one off this sheet or an Aggressor one. And yes, this was purchased by myself, just in case anyone's asking. And last but not least, in the kit side of things, and is the Tamiya's new 1/72 scale F35A, which again was passed on to me by Gary Hatcher and Sam Magazine, and this will feature at some point in the magazine over 2024. But like we said, keep your eye out on Facebook for daily or weekly updates with that one. So that's it from me with a quick channel update. There's probably not going to be anything now from me until Christmas. So on that note, I'll wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. May the kit manufacturers produce the kits we've all dreamed of and still want in 2024. And hopefully I can move the channel forward once the health improves and we can get a bit more mobile and a bit more confident in climbing the ladder. If not, things are put in place and we're going to be having the luxury of a purpose-built garden room just purely for the modelling. So thank you to everyone for supporting the channel. Thank you for everyone for supporting me as a modeller. Thank you to all the manufacturers who have provided both Rick Scale Model Fix and Scale Aircraft Modelling Magazine with the review samples featured in this video. And I look forward to bringing you new content in the near future. So until then, until next time everybody, stay well, keep safe and look after yourselves.